A lot of people have always told us that the internet is a series of tubes, and in many ways that's what I thought that the Republican Party saw the internet as. But in reality, the internet is you, and it's me, and it's all of us. Every single day, people are going to the internet to do everything. They're spending a majority of their time connected. I don't spend a waking moment when I'm not connected to the internet in some way or in some fashion. And the internet has revolutionized politics forever. Perhaps most profoundly by changing the definition of an activist. For example, the 20-minute-a-day activist, the in-between coffee break activist, the activist willing to give their candidate access to their Facebook status update once a day, the stay-at-home mommy blogger who calls voters in targeted congressional districts via Skype. These are the type of activists that we consider as the long tail of activism that the Democrats have inspired to support their effort. Indeed, Barack's victory was not due to luck, and it did not happen overnight. He achieved victory because he inspired millions of people to campaign for him at all times. It wasn't about Barack, it was about you. These supporters, you, used a tool, MyBo, which Moshe talked about, to self-organize, track tasks, recruit friends, volunteers, train, connect, raise money, and turn out the vote on election day. The success of MyBo is impressive and unparalleled. In fact, and by the way, if you want to see exactly what they did, you can actually just go to my.barackobama.com and watch this tutorial video that they have, which explains exactly everything that you can do in about 6 minutes. So as we looked at how we built up this tool, just watch that video. But the results are astounding. Mark Amador of The Atlantic reported that My Barack Obama was responsible for more than 68 million individuals being contacted by the Obama campaign. This is profound, and that's what this is all about. It's about singles every single day, people working together to help contact new voters. But let's be honest, the greatest tools cannot build a house. It takes carpenters who use the tools to build a house. You can't have one without the other. So the challenge for the GOP, which we all must address, isn't so much a lack of activism, but the inability to harness it. There are plenty of people out there willing and yearning to help. They just aren't tapped as a resource effectively. And if they are tapped, they are not exposed to other causes or candidates of interest. So when it's over, when their candidate loses, it's over. In primary races, when candidates would use Slate Card, 3 or 4 candidates may have been using us, but once 3 of the 4 lost, it's not like all of that groundswell went over to the candidate to help them win the general. We need to start working together. We believe the immediate challenge our party must address, if it is to win again, is to develop a tool to facilitate and empower massive, distributed activism. With the right formula, the power and stickiness of the network will keep our activists engaged. We must tap the long tail of activism by enlarging the pie through a system we refer to as Trickle Up Activism. Unlike My Barack Obama, which only serves Obama, we see the Republican infrastructure as being a decentralized social network available to all GOP candidates, which must be embraced by every campaign, from candidates for dog catcher all the way up to candidates for President of the United States of America. In the internet world, there is an emerging embrace of cloud computing. The theory behind cloud computing is that your average website is often paying too much for resources and often lacks the ability to scale up resources quickly. For example, look at your average emergency website. It is traditionally hosted on a single or a few servers. For your everyday load, this is fine. But when an emergency hits, the servers go down because they lack the ability to handle the extra load. Previously, the solution would have been to buy the maximum amount of servers required for this maximal load, but this was very expensive. Cloud computing solves this problem by only charging the resources and has a huge farm of resources that are largely untapped and can be utilized quickly to distribute the load. Similarly, the GOP online infrastructure needs a way to distribute the load of activism. to utilize resources as needed in a way to harness what is there more effectively. There are two components to this. The first is how do we harness this activism more effectively? Well, the social network itself will be comprised of a wide group of networks. Primarily, the networks will be the candidates that range from local to federal office. But there will also be networks of supporters at sublevels. For example, Republican reformers for Sarah Palin, or Bicyclists of Seattle for Sarah Palin. Sendel's in Seattle, so we decided to throw that one too. So the ideal goal is for the ability of the social network to recommend to people different networks they might like based on the composition and activity of those networks and the leadership of those networks as they relate to their own. For example, the Republican reformers for Sarah Palin might like Senators Jim DeMint and Tom Coburn, or local candidate X. Or based on the issues network you are a part of, the network will identify candidates or networks in your area that match up with your identity. By using technology to make smart recommendations to users, we can better harness activism because we are exposing activists to more choices and greater increase their activism overall. Most activists tend to have tunnel vision and focus only on a certain level or just aren't aware of what else is out there. How many times have people said to you, what can I do to help? And there's no one there to answer them what to do. For the platform to succeed and grow, we must expose activists to more networks and causes and then task those people appropriately. The second issue is the idea of distributing the load, a la cloud computing. In a normal network, the network can post messages, events, and action items. Action items can be anything from a generic list of things that need to be done to more specialized action items that might be built out as time goes on. For example, canvass the neighborhood, write letters to the editors, change your Facebook status for the cause, etc. Activists would receive points and move up in the system for completing tasks. The candidate network will normally assign these tasks on their own. However, a group of networks could join together to form a coalition. Within this coalition, the leaders of the coalition could share events, messages, and action items, exposing these activists to new causes that they may care about. And we can distribute the load, bringing in resources when and where we need them most. An example of this would be the Don't Go movement this past summer, or the No Stimulus Coalition today. Certainly, activists all throughout the country would have cared about most of these things, but a lot of people don't know how to get involved. They're not on Twitter. They may not see a Drudge advertisement. They may not see it on Fox News. But what they can do is hear it from their network. Which brings us back to Trickle Up Activism, the need to enlarge the network, 1,000 points of light. We believe the key to building up this network is to focus on the smaller candidates and the little guy, Joe the plumber, for example. According to the Association of Political and Public Affairs Professionals, there are more than 50,000 public elections held in the United States each year. 50,000 elections each year. Think about all of those people dumping their data and being a part of a network. All of the people, let's say they inspire 10 people each to donate money or to be a part of something bigger than they are. And all of that activism would be in one network. The numbers are astounding. Look, candidates know they need an online presence, a place to process donations, and a network. They know this stuff. Make it cost effective, for example, free, and they will be incented to participate. The value that the Republican Party will have is data. The Republican Party understands that. Every candidate will get their own network that smaller networks can affiliate with and they can manage. After a while, all these little candidates signing up and directing their supporters to the site will add up, and you'll create a large farm for activism. You can then utilize these numbers to distribute the load and the Amazon.com-like recommendation features of the network to better harness activism by promoting help across the candidates and help ensure the longevity of the Republican Party. The time to build the infrastructure that will help us compete tomorrow is now. We must build the tool and then train skilled operatives to build houses, promote leadership, and grow the pie. Only by working together will the Republican Party achieve victory. Thank you very much.